So put layouts and around about what we're going to be talking about too. You live?
Yeah, we live.
Hello, everybody. I'm Torrin Walker from Context Media Group. I'm in Ferguson, Missouri for the commemoration of Mike Brown's killing, and also for to have a conversation with Black fathers about the tragedies they dealt with, and also about how they can move forward going ahead.
Yeah, I'm Travis Harris, director, Dr. Travis Harris, Hood Scholar, and yeah, this is real, y'all. I'm just as another father who his 9-year-old daughter got shot, y'all. And I got a 9-year-old daughter. This is how real these conversations are. So we setting up now. The fathers here, they all line up. So we about to start. So let's get ready.
Pause it real quick. Then I'll do the intro, and then we'll just get into the conversation.
All right, y'all. Actually, go ahead and look at everybody too. Travis.
You're going to have to change that because the lights are too loud.
What you want to do?
Pause it real quick.
Oh, we can.
Oh, it's already gone?
Yeah.
All right. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Black Male Perspective Forum. Black Americans are killed at a much higher rate than white Americans. Although half of the people shot and killed by police are white, Black Americans are shot at a disproportionate rate. Black Americans account for less than 13% of the US population, but are killed at police by more than twice that rate. An overwhelming majority of people shot and killed by the police are male, over 95%. More than half of the victims are between 20 and 40 years old. Between 2014 and 2019, 1,662 Black men and 72 Black women were killed during encounters with law enforcement in the United States. That's one Black life taken every day for 5 years. In 2021, Bowling Green professor Phil Stimson led the Police Integrity Research Group. They found that from 2005 to 2020, 110 law enforcement officers were arrested for murder or manslaughter resulting from an on-duty shooting. Of those 110 officers who were prosecuted, 50 were acquitted. 42 were convicted on lesser charges, and only 5 law enforcement officers have been found guilty of murder over the past 16 years. The remaining cases are pending. The dark arithmetic doesn't stop there. With extrajudicial killings, in the wake of these cases is worldwide public outrage. That outrage can be overwhelming to the point that it doesn't leave room for family members affected by these cases to grieve, or to grieve properly, or to even grieve in private, because they also have to fight for justice for their loved ones. And when justice isn't served, which is usually the case, the cameras and crowds tend to drift away and leave the individual family members to deal with the aftermath. The child becomes a symbol removed from their humanity and the reality that these are people with families and loved ones. Today, we want to talk to the people who are dealing with those issues and the people who are left behind when all the cameras leave, especially the Black fathers and the fathers of Black boys and men slain by police. Joining me today are Kerry Ball Sr., the father of Kerry Ball, who was shot and killed by 3 St. Louis police officers on April 24th, 2013. Andrew Joseph Jr., whose 14-year-old son, Andrew Joseph III, died in 2014 trying to cross an interstate in Tampa after being escorted from a fairground by Hillsborough County deputies. Von Derek Myers Sr., the father of Von Derek Myers Jr., who was shot by an off-duty St. Louis police officer on October 8, 2014. And finally, Michael Brown Sr., whose son, Michael Brown Jr., was shot and killed by Officer Darren Wilson of the Ferguson Police Department on August 9, 2014. Let's welcome these men. Some of the brothers, I didn't get all the names because I didn't have everybody's name listed up. Sorry about that, but I'll come back to you. We want to start from the beginning. I don't want to dwell too much on some of the tragedies that happened, but if we can just go down the line and have every one of you men just describe your sons and their personalities and what they were like as people. We'll start with Mr. Brown.
My name is Michael Brown Sr. I'm the father of Michael Brown Jr. Michael was 6'4", 280, lovable, joyful, good with his hands, take stuff apart, put it back together. Was into girls, was just started to drive, get his own, was working on those things. He was used with a lot of love, man. Funniest thing he did, 2014 on April 1st, didn't realize it was April Fool's Day. He called me in Cal and told us that he had a baby on the way. You know, he was a joke. He said that and hung the phone. I'm calling his phone, he ain't answering. I'm like, he just said he had a baby on the way. Called me back 7 hours later, like, what you doing? I say, man, what's up with this baby that's about to happen? Or you have? He said, oh man, it's April Fool's Day, Dad. I was just joking with you. So he was a prankster, you know, I say, his family miss him, you know, we all love him. Pull your mask up. And I'm gonna continue to fight for justice.
Still pull. You gotta pull. You gotta pull. Pull them out.
Y'all please be patient with me. I have technical difficulties. We're gonna work it out. There you go. Scoop these together.
Yeah, that's good. Oh, this way?
Mic check, sound check, 1, 2, 1, 2. Mic check, sound check, can you get in the back? It's our house. Whose house? Whose house? Whose house? We're chosen for change. Who will win?
Chosen for change.
Who will win?
Chosen for change.
Whose house? Whose house? Whose house? Say power up, put the fists up, break down. Who? Whose house? Whose house? Who will win?
Chosen for change.
Who will win?
Chosen for change.
Who will win?
Chosen for change.
Power up, break down. Power up, break down. Power up, 2 times, break down. You could have been anywhere in the world today, and you're here with us, with the fathers, with the Michael Brown Foundation. And if I had 1,000 tongues, I couldn't thank you enough. But with this one, I want to say thank you for being here today and providing this platform for us fathers, because our voices is overheard a lot of times by the mothers. We have very few platforms, and we're thankful for this one.
My name is Andrew Joseph Jr. My son is Andrew Joseph III. My son was killed in Tampa, Florida, February 7, 2014. It's the hardest feeling in the world to have to go to the graveyard to visit your child. To stand there and have to talk to that wall, I have to talk to the ground, and communicate with your loved one. My son was an above average 14-year-old. I used to kid with him and tell him he was built like an out-of-work Jesus. And each one of his pictures that he took, he never had a shirt on. He was a wonderful kid, somebody I lived dearly. He wasn't only my son, but he was my best friend. Somebody that I could talk to, somebody that I could groom, somebody that I poured everything into. And when he was taken, it destroyed me. And who I was before he died with my son. The next day I was brand new. I had to learn to do things again like an officer. I had to learn how to stand up and walk. I couldn't sit down at the table and eat with my family because there was a vacant chair at the table. And we used to set it up. I remember the good times, all the conversations that we would have, and I was able to go to the parks, see him do his thing on the field. And I was able to go to the gyms and see him excel. He was a child that his only mission was to make his parents proud. And that extended over to his schoolwork. He was an honor roll student. And he was there to make his teachers proud. And it extended over to the ball box. And he was the coach's dream. They not only stole my son, but they stole his future. And personally, my DNA. My name is Andrew Joseph Jr. My father was Andrew Joseph Sr. And my only son was Andrew Joseph III. If you have a daughter, eventually you have to change her name once you get married. So that's it for me. There's no more Andrew Joseph that's going to be here on earth. Because my son was stolen by Hillsborough County Sheriff's Department 7 years ago. And I thank you for your ears.
Good afternoon. My name is my son was carried to jail, and every August is a little painful for me because it's his birthday, August the 18th. And not only that, August 9th, my nephew got killed by a police officer. I'm gonna say, in 2013, my cadence hasn't changed. Nothing that I have said has changed. In 2013, I said that we're bound by blood. And the bloodshed of our children is the reason why we're here. And I also stated that if our children, human and civil rights were never violated, maybe we need to have PETA take over because their animal rights were violated when they were gunned down like dogs in the street. None of that has changed. For my son, Kerry Terrell Ball Jr., he was very athletic. He had a smile that when he smiled, it lighted up the room. And the things that we had in common, we were very little. So, you know that. But it's saying that just like his dad, he was very intelligent, straight A student, honor roll student. And the thing that I miss more, I got to piggyback from they stole Kerry the third for me, you know. We would always sit up, man, I can't wait till we had a trade, you know what I'm saying? And we would laugh, yeah. But me and him would sit down and have conversations. And I would always think and hope that one day we have our own church, you know what I'm saying? I'd be the preacher, he'd be the deacon, because that kid was very well versed in scripture. He knew the Bible. But on the night of April the 24th, when they took his life, I had told him, hey bro, you know that word. It's time for you to put that gun. But he had been shot, you know. And he was the only kid that I know that was a straight A student that would have books and a gun in the same bag. But that was the narrative of what is going on in our community. And I still say to this very day that I love my son, and I don't think nobody could wear a white beater like him. Little dude had an amazing body, you know, like his dad. But the smile that he had was something that I'll never forget, you know. And he was a good dude. Not only was he a good dude, he was at the college that he attended, tutoring students. So dude was very intelligent. And I'm gonna miss him, as I've always stated. August is a very hard month for me, you know, because I'm a guy that I love life and I love children. You know, I got a few of those. But I miss my man. He was a good dude. He was very educated, and he was somebody that everybody loved. Thanks for having me. God bless you.
James Bowden Sr. I just want, like my brother said, to thank you all for allowing us to be here. Also want to thank, you know, Chosen for Change. And they say we bonded by blood. But I'm here because of these brothers and Mike opened up the door for me, you know, to be the only brother on this platform to have lost a child, which was a girl. And I still have a beacon of hope. And that hope was put on this platform to speak to you today. It's not easy going to a gravesite and forever to know your child to be 9 years old, especially a little girl. I feel that a lot of things has been covered up. I feel a lot of things have been told. So just to have this small piece of hope, I just look for the truth, which was stolen, and I look for justice for a life for a 9-year-old that was stolen. And with that being said, my daughter's name is Jamila Bowden.
Hello, everybody. My name is Von Derek Myers Sr. I'm the father of Von Derek Myers Jr. No offense to women or their daughters and all, but I think y'all pretty much know what it's like for a man to find out about his first child about to be born and hoping that it's a boy. You know, that's one of our egos to have the feeling of a child that's about to be born in your life, and all of a sudden you tell this child all the ins and outs of life about what you want him to do and how you want him to present himself to become a man. And most of all, the special feats that I liked was he was a replica of myself. I'm watching myself grow up all over again. So that made me proud in such a way as to where my son, to me, in my eyes, was a king. Young though, but he was an old soul, and he drew so many people in his life. Very intelligent, can mimic anybody, anything that you ever wanted him to mimic. You know, I had so many plans for him, his future. You know, last thing he said to me, Daddy, don't quit your job because I'm coming up the slough. I'm going to college there. My man didn't make it. He didn't make it. And right to this day, I feel like I've been stripped of his future. He's been stripped of his future and his life. When they took my son away from me, they took a part of me, and I've been going through the ringers ever since. More angry than anything and able to grieve like I want to. And it's sad that my son was a king in my eyes, but at the same time, nobody wanted him to be a king. They couldn't see him growing up to be a king, so they took his life. But my son, if you don't know him, if you'd have got a chance to meet him, you would have loved this young man. I promise to God you would have loved him. And it's sad that us fathers, everybody looked at us and never said a word to us because they felt like we didn't have no relationship with our kids, but we had a relationship with our kids. That's what we're here for today, because of the simple fact that our voices ain't heard because they already got a silent code on the black families of division. You understand? They don't want us to be a part of our kids' lives. They just want to keep the women in one area and keep the fathers on another side. But my son brought me and his mom together. As a matter of fact, he was our only child. He was our only child. 18 years old, watching that smile, looking at myself, my twin. This brother right here, I gave him my heart. You understand? And he gave me his. And when he died, I died right along with him. Just not in my grave yet, but I told him I'll be there soon.
Greetings, my brothers and sisters. My name is Dennis Balbay. I'm the father of Mansour Balbay, who was killed by the police back in 2015 on August the 19th. Mansour was 18 years old, just had graduated out of high school, got him a job, working for FedEx. He was a member of the Moorish Science Temple of America, a Moorish American Muslim, an active member. He was a Mufti. A Mufti is like one of the security of the temple. He was active in the movement. He had race pride and loved his race. He loved his family, both sides of the family. My side of the family, his mama's side of the family. I never seen him disrespect anyone. He had plans to go to college to be an engineer. He was also he had plans to be a rapper. Matter of fact, before his death, I had sent the video he did, and I got on him. It was like the gangster rap video, and somebody sent it to me and said, you know, man, Sue off into this gangster rapping thing with his cousin now. So I was just rapping with him about it. Cause the gangster rap is deep, and when you on that doing, and they got guns and everything, police is already targeting you.
Yes, sir.
So I had rap with him on that. But he still here it goes. His goal was so deep that right after his death, he had ordered his the instrument that they need to do rapping in came in the mail through UPS. Right after his death. So it's some stuff that he got he never seen. But drawing off of Mansour getting killed by the police, visiting his cousin. He over at his cousin's house. Police executing a warrant for his cousin, and somehow he get caught up in the midst of it, and the police shoot him dead in the center of his back and say he pointed a gun. And where he dropped that in the front of this house in the gangway, they say he ran from the alley, shot dead in the center of his back. Now the first autopsy said where he got shot at, that's where he dropped that. So the police told the autopsy people, now he got shot in the alley, so they had to go, they stole his body. I'm gonna say they stole it because they didn't tell me they were going to get the body to do a second autopsy. I didn't hear it till it came across the news that they got the body to go do a second autopsy. But at all time, me knowing after my son got killed by the police and what's going on in our society with so many deaths by police, and I call it so-called black death by police, I call it a modern day lynching.
Man.
When I think about my son Mansour, I like he got caught up in that modern day lynching. Because you don't see the so-called black man going around killing the so-called Europeans or white children. You only seeing our people, the so-called black people in our community that's getting killed by police saying they pointed a gun, something that they wasn't doing right, but they getting killed by him. But you ain't been seeing none of this through no other races. So when I look at that and I think about my son, I think about that modern day lynching, that old time lynching. It just changed over into this area time. But one thing I know about Mansour, he had race pride and he loved his race. Peace.
Thank you, Brother. Before I move on, I want to say that I think it's really important to hear from black men and to hear black men talk about the pain that they feel, because a lot of the times it's either overlooked or people like to pretend that black men don't have feelings, and it's not, and it doesn't need to be talked about. Y'all human beings need to be acknowledged just like anybody else. Speaking of that, I want to go to the next question. Next thing out there, a lot of you brothers, when those tragedies happened in your family, there was a lot of media attention. All of a sudden, cameras showed up. All of a sudden, people were on the streets. People wanted to get down bites. But what I want to ask you, brothers, how many people really came to y'all from media perspective to ask y'all how you were feeling or what your thoughts were, how y'all were doing with everything that's going on? And that's the question. Anybody can take it.
And I thank you for the question, brother. But let me begin by saying, you know, for every Michael Brown, who everybody knows, there's 1,000 Andrew Josephs. And let me just explain this to you as best I can, that this ain't what you won't be famous for. Michael Brown died that day. Both son and dad. The next day, he became the father of a dead child that was killed by the police. That was his new title. As the rest of these fathers on the panel, you don't want nobody else to be in these shoes. You don't want to be famous this way. You don't want to get your millions this way. You don't want to sign autographs behind this. You don't want to do interviews. You're dealing with a roller coaster full of emotions. Now, you know, these gentlemen up here may not speak about it, but I know that everybody up here contemplates suicide. This is what this do to you. This tears your family apart. This digs in your pocket. This comes with a hospital visit, guaranteed. And you know, what's done to us as individuals, it's like a blueprint across this country. Each of our children, they victimize. They died because of what they did. They died because who they were, or they didn't do something right. They let him lay in the street for 4 hours. That was a normal thing in 2014. But we thank God that public hanging stopped with Michael Brown. You know, we no longer have people in the street 4 and 5 hours. That used to be a calling call. But brother, this is what you want to be famous for. Now everybody comes, there's like we're trying to go to the moon. There's people that come in your life and leave. You know, when we were trying to get to the moon, we were trying to get to the moon with one rocket. We couldn't do it. We had to have plenty of rockets. One had to break off and another one had to kick in. This is 7 years later. You remember this place used to be packed. The computer used to be trending. You know, but this is a 2-week type of situation. The next 2 weeks it'll be somebody else's child. The next 2 weeks it'll be somebody else's issue. Somebody else is getting the cameras in their face. And you know, our only role in this matter is to keep our loved one's name alive. As long as their name is here with the living, their spirit is here. But once everybody on earth forgets their name and forgets your name and forgets your existence, then and only then you're truly deceased. So it's our job to keep our loved one's name alive. And sometimes that means talking to the media and giving uncomfortable interviews. And it takes a while before you can get your voice. You know, I didn't see most of this table grow from not having a word to say to being pastors and leaders in their communities. So, you know, this is it's like an infancy. It's like a brand new baby that you're raising. When you watch that child mature, and, you know, Michael Brown in his infancy is making 7 years old this year. And this is the age of reasoning. And we're in a time of change, as well as truth. Because, you know, it was said that you're not going to be able to tell the lies from the truth. And there was going to be fathers that was burying their sons. So, you know, this is what time we're in. And we're here now planting seeds for tomorrow. Because right now, we're dealing with Generation Z, Gen Z, which is supposed to be the last generation that has to deal with this. Racism is the biggest problem in the country. Racism is the biggest problem in the world. Everything else comes after racism. And we're fighting, this is a powerful group of men, because we're fighting white supremacy. We're fighting against racism. So that makes us dangerous.
Go ahead.
Truth be told, since 2013,
The only person that has really ever asked me how I feel or what I'm going through is that man right there, Mike Brown Sr. Nobody else has ever cared. And what makes this brother special and unique is that he could have did it all by himself. He could have took this journey alone. And I'll never forget the time when we was at O'Fallon and we walking down the street. We had just did the little march or whatever, and the media come. Yeah, Mike, how you doing? And how you say, man, hold up, don't ask me. Here, Kerry Ball Senior right here. His son got shot 21 times and had 25 bullet holes in him. You know, ask him how he feel the fact that bullets went through his son's body and came back out. At that moment, I told this dude, I said, man, you're a unique brother, man, you know? And like, he the only one that would constantly, every now and then, we call one another and we talk and laugh. And then finally, after about 7 years or 5, 6 years, he say, Ball, can I just say something? Like, yeah, what's up, Big? Because I call him Big. He say, I'll call you sometimes because I be needing to just hear your voice and you pep me up. I'm like, oh yeah? He like, yeah, dude, your energy is something else. But he the only person that has ever really asked me how I feel. The media, they probably would never do it because they know if they do, they're gonna have to ask me what's next. And the only thing I'm gonna tell them, you get them 911 tapes, and then you come tell me what's next. But no, this the only man that ever asked me how I feel. And that's just the honest to God truth. And I appreciate you and I thank you for that, brother. You could have done this all alone and let it just been about Mike Brown because nobody know me, nobody knows us. But I thank you for that, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. Next. Anybody else? All right. Let's talk a little bit about grief, specifically Black male grief. Being men, all of us have dealt with it, dealing with some sort of silent pain or trying to deal with what society says how you should deal with pain and deal with grief. And majority of what we're told is that you just suck it up, you stay quiet, you let it sit in, you don't show that to the world. But there's a danger in that. There's a physical danger in that, and there's a psychological danger in that. How do your brothers manage to cope with that?
Yes, you.
Put that on little baby. Can I answer that on her? I'll put that on me. That's little baby. The question was, how do we deal with the grief? Me coming from a militant family, crying was taught as a sign of weakness. You know, I grew up in a household full of real Panthers. You know, people that knew Geronimo Pratt, H. Rap Brown, and all them guys personally. And we was taught that men don't cry. That's a sign of weakness. But when I went to prison, I had to take an anger management class. And the lady asked me why I walk around with my fist balled up all the time. And I say, well, I was taught that it's a sign of strength. And I'm always trying to go, you know, because I come out of a revolutionary family. But then she told me, she said, young man, I'm going to tell you this. Whoever told you that men don't cry, they abused you. And men must cry. So the first time that I cried was the first time I ever went to a church. And so if you see me crying, it means that I'm getting touched by the Holy Spirit, because I am so militant driven that all I know is not to show a sign of weakness. But I beg to differ that
holding it in is worse than letting it out. Because in many a days when this situation, I would wake up and I know me, but learning how to every now and then to cry, it has made me so much better. And so whoever teaching these little killers that should be being taught how to be kings, whoever teaching these little princesses that should be princesses, not taught how to be a prostitute. We need to teach these people how to let their emotions be felt and heard, because that's why the suicide rate is so high. We bottling this stuff in and it's not healthy. Next person.
All right, so if we went around the room and asked for a definition of grief, we'll probably get 4 or 5 different definitions. And everybody deal with grief differently.
True.
Grief is an individual type of aspect. So for me personally, grief is love with nowhere to go. Grief is love with nobody to give it to. And like my brother said, we've been taught to hold that emotion inside. But see, dealing with this type of situation, it's no holding it in. It's coming out. You gonna cry. Matter of fact, you're gonna cry more than you ever cried in your life. And one day, I decided that was enough of crying. And I hadn't shed another tear since. And at this point, I'm through with crying. I'm through with crying. But grief has the ability to overcome you. Grief will kill you. Grief will send you to the hospital. Grief will mess with your mental aspects. Grief is very powerful. Grief has to be dealt with. And you got to realize that we grown men dealing with grief. But there was a whole section of our children, which were the siblings, the brothers and sisters to these murdered kids, that has never been taught how to deal with grief. And their only example was us. So we had to throw out a whole net to save the siblings and explain to young kids, because, we didn't have to grow up with our brothers and sisters being murdered.
Man.
This is the first generation that's dealing with this. And they have different ways of expressing themselves. And then when it comes, there's plenty of different options that they can choose. And all of them are not positive. So, we have to make sure that, as traditionally, however your household work.
I know. Come on, bro.
As men, we're looked up as leaders, and we have to be strong for the family. And we have to be strong for the kids. So, at this point, I'm through with crying. And when I do have to cry, I cry in the shower.
I know this.
With just me. With just me. But it's worth finding a way to express yourself, whether it's working out, whether it's yoga, whatever it may be, you know what I'm saying? To deal with that internal grief, that internal love that has nowhere to go.
Dealing with grief. 2014 was like one of the hardest times of my life, right? 14, 15, 16, I would say dealing with grief and overlooking people that love you because you balled up in your own space. You don't know that you are actually pushing people away. It took my kids to get me back on track. A thing that they had said was, "Hey, we over here, we over here. You forgot about us?" Because the fight was so strong just for justice for Mike, where I wouldn't say it was intentionally done. Not being in their space and let them know, I love them and, you know, but like you said earlier, it take a toll on your family. Children hurt too. And when you balled up in your own, you don't see the pain that's surrounding you because you're so stuck in your own way of doing your own way because that's what you used to doing it your way and you affecting and neglecting people that love you. It take a toll on your body too. My body is different. My heart beat different. My mind move different. Everything's different. I am not the same. I am different. I feel like I'm stronger, but I'm strong because I was forced to be strong like this. You have people that walk this earth and don't have no worries in their life. Never been hit with never been hit with a baseball thrown in their face like that. There's some serious pain there with a lump, a permanent lump. So people want to understand this type of pain, grief, or what we're going through. We definitely don't wish this on no one. Some people don't even come back from this. I know some brothers that don't even want to talk. They just went back to work, and that's how they deal with it. They don't want no counseling. They don't want nothing. Leave me alone. That's where they at in their world. Just leave me alone. So grief affects people in all different type of ways, man. So just have to find that place where you can be able to cope. 'Cause that's all we doing. We coping. We ain't healed. This pain is just hiding. It's still there. Yeah.
I seen dare not say about grief. Come on, man. Grief is like a transformation of a new birth. You sit back and you tend to forget who you are, what you do. Sometimes you drift off and feel like your manhood been stripped. But then, like my brother down here, Mike, say your kids bring you back to reality. It took a 5-year-old girl to bring me back to reality. Grief is burying a child and 30 days later having one born and trying to figure out what to do. You're so scared, you give it back to the doctor. Say, doctor, I don't want this. But sometimes you gotta be transparent and look at the bigger picture and look who you're living for. All of us up here died with our children.
Preach, dog.
Not just died, but was reborn like a lion, like a phoenix. Knowing that if we don't talk, ain't nobody gonna talk for us. Ain't nobody gonna talk for them. Ain't nobody gonna ask you, is you all right? Ain't nobody gonna rub or say, here, let me help you out. I agree with my brother Ball here. Brother Mike, He's the only one I can remember that ass was all right. Media was so tough, you didn't get time to lay down. You couldn't even hug your kid or tell your wife how you felt. So grief is something we coping with, something we trying to deal with day by day. And I wish it on our worst enemy. But I do have to say this. Grief is like lightning. You gotta have an outlet. And you gotta let it loose. Because if you don't, it's just gonna blow you up. I know it put me in the hospital for 2 months. Had everything you can call, heart disease, diabetes, all because of how much you love something. And nobody don't wanna hear you. So with grief, it's not an easy pill to swallow. But as long as I got Allah and my brothers up here, we're gonna get through this. Grief. Grieving make me feel like the devil. Always angry. Ain't got no friends. I choose not to have any friends. Because at any moment, waiting to explode, you can say the wrong thing to me. Some of the things you might say can be right, but I might not hear it that way. Some things you may do to me might be good, but I might take it the wrong way.
Come on now.
I think about killing all the time. Sometimes I want to take the gun and go kapow, bam, bam. But me feeling like the devil, I feel like I'll survive it anyway. I'm not trying to give him no praise, but that's what grief make me feel like. Because I can't look at a human being today as a human being. You understand what I'm saying? I want to take lives. I want those that took my son's life to pay. You understand? And those that fabricated. Put me in this state of mind of grieving. It's hard living, walking amongst other human beings, trying to be you, and you just can't find yourself no more. A tear came down once or twice. That tear felt like forever rolling down my cheekbone. Grieving ain't nothing to play with, and I promise you, I'm just a strong-hearted man. I know that, and I'm a strong person, but grief is killing me, you understand? Killing me, but I don't believe that it is, because grieving is overwhelming my soul, you understand? And it's hard for me to cope out here in the world when I got all this rambling in my mind about my son. You know, I have to put myself in a state of mind to where my dreams sometimes relieve me. You understand? Because when I have my dreams about him, they seem so real, like he's still here.
Come on now.
You understand? And they kind of put me in a better state of mind, but only for that moment. But when my slumber is disturbed, now I'm back to reality. No smile from my son, no going to the movies, no laughing and watching movies together. None of that. Grieving is pure hell. I don't recommend that for no one on this earth. No one. But I'm just a sad soul because all I got is the remaining of my family. And this family right here. These brothers is the only thing that I have. Like I say, I choose not to have friends because I know that I can switch over at any cost. But I would never turn away from these brothers or go against these brothers because I know that they got my back. They pushing me towards the right way. Come on now. You understand what I'm saying? And I thank these brothers for believing in who I am and pushing me to doing what I'm doing right now. And I also like to thank Big Mike. He supported me from day one. And when Mike introduced me to all these guys, they've been supporting me. Even when I strayed away from these guys, Grieve got me down so far to where I strayed away from these guys for about how many years? About 3 years. 3 years. And guess what? They still reached out to me and embraced me like I never fucking left. You understand? Hey, these brothers right here, they real. You understand? These brothers right here showing me a different part of my life, showing me and fighting with me to fight for other lives out here when tragedy hits. I just feel bad for the newcomers. Man. See, we kind of used to it now because we've been in it for a minute. The newcomers, my heart goes out to you. Ain't nobody gonna tell you or ask you how you feeling. But when they do, like I was telling my brother, they got an agenda behind it. You understand what I'm saying? They ain't in it for the real deal, not for the cause. They hear in your face one day and the next. They got what they want, so they don't need to hear from you no more. You see what I'm saying? They don't really want to hear us. They don't, man. I'm telling you, you got real people out here and you got some only in it for themselves. And that is a killer on top of what we got going on right now. Can you imagine grieving for your loved one that you lost? And then you got snakes sticking you in the back at the same time? Getting paid off your child's death. Come on, man. Now you see why I'm so angry, why I want to kill. But I got to keep these hands to myself because of the simple fact I still have other people out here that love me too. You understand? And I have love for them. Now, they brought me from the dead. I ain't gonna lie to you. Because the grieving got so deep that I separated myself from a whole bunch of people. And right to this day, I never went back to being who I am. You understand? I just got an inkling of me right now, because right now my mind is still warped. From 2014, 7 years. This punk ass cop walked his ass right on off. He's still chilling. Like, you know, you watching Instagram, he on there chilling with his kids, shooting their guns and shit, you know, talking about the president, prejudice as fuck, you know, living his life, smiling with his wife. One day, you just don't know if I run into that motherfucker, it's on and popping. You understand? But like I said, them times I'm trying to get past, so y'all gotta excuse me because of the simple fact that I still have people out here that love me. They don't want me to go down that path, but there's a lot of them know that I will because I always been that type of person. But I want God to step in and do what needs to be done. You understand? That's what I want. I don't want to be out here having my family grieving for me. You understand? So I'm waiting on God to step in because I feel like to me, he would do a better job than myself. Because I will be reckless with it, and I promise you I'll be fucking reckless. And I know I will. You understand what I'm saying? Be completely fucking reckless. So, hey, I'm praying for me. My brothers is praying for me. I'm praying for my brothers. I'm praying for my family. And I'm praying for all those that goes through the same tragedy that we've been through, especially the newcomers. Y'all need to talk to somebody. Come and holler at these brothers right here because we know what's going on. And we'll fill you in on everything that need to be heard. You understand? So you won't go in blind. Because we went in blind. You understand? I was blind as a motherfucker. Blind to the fact. Man, I got so many knife wounds in my back right now, it don't make no damn sense. You know what I'm saying? So, on top of the grievance, they're going to step. You know, right now, that's, I'm feeling with it, I'm hoping with it right now because of the simple fact that I know if we want my family to know we both have a faith in me. Forgive me, y'all. What? Speak with a buck.
Yeah. Speak your truth,
Beat
brother.
that thing. What? Please. Man, take your shirt off and get on the ground.
It's like grieving. When you grieving get kind of deep though. But in my teachings in Islam, teach me not to grieve, not to weep. I say that in grieving when my son got killed, I think that's the only time when I grieved, when I was trying to find out where his body was at. And I was looking for him. But when I got to him and found him, I think that was my only grief. But I didn't weep because I knew about life and death. I come out of a big family, so death was coming back and forth all kind of ways. Out of 7 brothers, I'm the last brother. So weeping never got to me. When I went to go see my son at the mall, and they were taking pictures of his body, and the lady asked me, how could you stand there and look at your son? I said, probably through my teachings. Because man need a pattern for his life. So through my teachings made me be strong to look at my son, knowing that death is most certain. Oh, yeah. But you don't know how it may go. But now if I weep, it's only weep because I'm weeping because I want justice for my son. That's right. And if you ain't getting that justice, it makes you want to fight something. That's right. So now I'm fighting for my son. I'm still seeking justice. It's going on 6 years. And my lawyers and them, they still fighting the case. But weeping, that I don't do. But I'm still fighting for justice for my son. That's right.
Can y'all hear me? I guess so. Okay. This next question kind of touches on what you said, brother. There is a saying, everybody shows up to a funeral. In the tragedies that you brothers have dealt with, their own gain, have you, what's been your experience with feeling like exploitation has showed up to your places? I know you've spoken about this in Ferguson right now, and we've had months about death to promote and enrich themselves. Some of this I don't really like to say, y'all know better than I, but how have y'all dealt with that? And since y'all dealing with situations, since you've dealt with these tragedies, have you been able to figure out who's really for you and who's not at this point?
You will definitely. You're out there enough. I promise you, you're out there enough. You would actually figure it out. You understand? All you need to do is pay attention to your surroundings. I had people watching me with mink coats on. You understand? Out there every day. Where the income coming from? Like they ain't got no job. How you out there protesting every day? You know what I'm saying? like you ain't got no job, like you ain't got no other life. You know? So to answer your question, when you be out there enough, you will figure it out. You will find out the ones that's definitely getting back. You know what? I'm gonna tell you a story. Me and my family and my community, we marched from Shaw all the way up to Gravois. Ball was with me. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna put her name out there. Yes, I am, and I don't give a damn. Tracy Blackman and Starsky, Pastor Starsky, them two fuckers right there. You understand? Them two. She marched in a mink coat next to me. You understand? From neck to the ankles. We went to this church after we got through doing the march. They did their speeches and all that. They took all the protesters in, and people, me and my wife, and Pastor Starsky, Tracy Blackman, and two Asian people. I didn't know who the Asian people were. Took us and put us in the pastor's den. You understand? Now, a deacon walked in there. Either he didn't know no better, or he was new, or he was a new deacon. He walked in there in the pastor's den and said, "The pastor's getting y'all checks ready." And I said, "Checks?" You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, "Also, y'all getting checks off, off my son's shit, you know?" They were like, I say, "Okay, where my check at?" See, I was being sarcastic because I really don't give a damn about that. I wanted my son's life back here on earth. You understand? That don't mean shit to me. The thing is, it pissed me off so bad. When my family was out there, got a whiff of it, they was finna jump them, but I had to stop. You know what I'm saying? So that's the type of stuff that we have to deal with. You understand? And they looked at each other with smirks on their face like, "Oh shit, he wasn't supposed to know this. Right. He wasn't supposed to hear this." You know what I'm saying? And I stay strapped all the time. You know how bad I want to pull my shit out and pop their ass in the church? Pop their ass. You understand? In the church. Stay strapped all day long. Sometimes I have 3 of them on me. I don't give a fuck, because of the simple fact, when they bring it, see, this is the problem. They taking it to our kids. They don't want to see us for real. You understand? Because we got too much intelligence for them. You know what I'm saying? We up in age. They don't want to see it. They know we going to fight back. See, that's the problem. That's why they taking it to our youngins, because they know our youngins going to grow up to be queens and kings, bro. You understand? So you got them people, and then you got your own kind. You understand? Is out to be the symbols. Them the ones that we have to watch out for. You understand? Them symbols. Them the ones we have to watch out for. Because they killing us, and they don't know that they killing us. You understand? How can you be and not stand up for people? You know what? Our race can be sold out at any cost, no matter, what it can be, man. We could be sold out by any nationality, long as money involved. Let's say it. You know what I'm saying? I ain't saying all of us. We got a nice amount out here. Nice amount. We got Judases everywhere, bro. Judases all over this fucking United States. And they was a prime example of the Judas. That's how I looked at them. Wanted to take action on them right off the bat. But I would have been just as wrong. See? When my family got a whiff of it, it was kind of hard to keep them back. But I told them, "No, we ain't finna fuck this up right now." You know what I'm saying? We got too many people, too many witnesses out here. You know what I'm saying? So when these people come to you about something, you gotta look at them and you gotta think to yourself and have a smart mind, have a different state of mind for what they bring it to you, because that's what they come for. They coming for nothing but the money, bro. I'm telling you, nothing but the money. They don't care about what's going on with our kids, man. Our own kind. Trust me. Our own kind, they don't give a damn about what's going on with our kids. They looking for it works. What the hell y'all think? You know what I'm saying? Got mad at me. I had to check them on Facebook. Then they said we getting checked. I won't. Understand? You know? So, hey, but that's how it is. That's how you gotta be careful. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, bro. Talk. No, bro.
Yeah, it's all good.
Let them both eat.
Your mask. Oh, yeah. Question again. What's the question?
Oh, the question is dealing with exploitation.
Dealing with exploitation. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, we had experienced a lot of people that came into our life for their own personal gain and reason. There's people that made plenty of money off Mike.
Still is. Still is.
Careers and everything. But what people don't understand, when you are going through a pain that you can't see nothing else, and all you doing is worried about justice, you don't see everything else, you know. That's the last thing on your mind, is worried about what somebody doing, you know. But when you come to, it's all here to the captain, you know. So it's a lot of people I had addressed it, you know. It's a lot of people that we came and bullied, you know. There's some people as far as like you got the Channel 2, Channel 11, all them people come in and they wanna you know, come and steal the show by making up different things and saying, oh, this is what Mike Brown Jr. is doing now, like as far as the riding and all that stuff, and making things and actually bringing more money into the community for other people to grab.
Come on, man.
But it almost looked like a whole circle of them working together. You know, I'm gonna promote it, y'all gonna get it, we gonna split it. Hey, damn, I just looked at that like that. You heard me? Came up.
That's true, dog.
You know,
Preach,
but yeah, you never be focused on anything like that. You know, it just be Drew up here killing them. But you never pay attention to stuff like that. You know, when you're going through. But when you get your mind in that second breath, you know, you definitely are upset. Now, I did have people come in. Gray was just here. He just walked out. I was trying to get Tory to grab him. That was the lawyer on the case. You know, Gray was always there and made sure a few things went right. You know, I got another big supporter, Al Sharpton. A lot of people don't like him. He come in, he do what he do. Like he said, I come in and do what I do. I make the money, I'm gone. People think he come in, he rake up money and take money, and then he gone. Nah, he make the money for you, then he gone. His job done. Yeah. What else he here for? You know. But it ain't too many people that I can depend on, but my family and my brothers here. You know. So yeah, they ain't take nothing from me. You know, but we gave each other something. You know. So yeah. But you want something, Drew?
Yeah, I think so. Really, I feel like this is an activist question, you know, and this is dealing with a lot of the activists. And when it comes to activism, it's important that you be the verb in a sentence. You're supposed to show the action. And when a verb tries to become the noun, it's where the problem comes in at, because it's not about the noun anymore, it's about the verb. And the verb is trying to get its name recognized and its platform risen. And it should be always be about the families. The families, the ones that's actually going through the heartache and the tragedy. And you know, we have a lot of outside people that benefits from our tragedies. It's a lot of careers that has been formed after our tragedies. A lot of monies that's been made, a lot of merchandise that's been moved, a lot of positions that's been, you know, filled because of this death that, you know, nobody's really dealing with but us. Because if you don't have a child in the graveyard, you don't know what we're talking about. You only imagine. If you're not walking in these shoes, you really don't feel the pain. And there's no therapy for this. You can't be a therapist and your child not dead, and you try to tell me how to cope with mine. You can't teach me this out of no book. So if you're not walking in these shoes, and you know, you got to realize that there's different stages to this. My brother talked about the stage one, when you know, when it just happened, and you still trying to gather evidence, and you still going from putting a pistol in your mouth to wanting to put the pistol in everybody else's mouth. And some of us never graduate from stage one, but there's different stages. That's really important because it's where your mindset is. And you know, just like the activism, there's going to be people that come in your life first 2-3 years and you never hear from them more. There's going to be people that come in at the end of the term that's going to bring you to that next level and that next platform. So, you know, when you're in this type of situation, there's people coming at you from all type of angles. You have to be, first of all, a good judge of character. And it's hard to do when your eyes are full of grief. So it's important for you to have strong people around you that's able to see when you're not able to see, and listening when you're not listening. And ultimately, you know, when it comes down to the come down, if it's not about the family, you know, it really don't make sense. If the family's not being elevated, if the family's not benefiting from the situation, if the legacy is not benefiting from the situation, there's really no sense in entertainment. And you should be moving on, because there's, you know, it's like there's bad people everywhere, there's good people as well. There's people that's actually that's willing to help you, that want to help you, that want to see you get what you deserve and get to the next level. And just like there's people that want to get themselves there and tear you down, you know, regardless of what your situation may be.
I think we're gonna leave it right there. Thank you, brothers, for showing up. Thank you, brothers, for speaking your mind and bearing your souls. We really appreciate it.
No problem.
Thank you, everybody, for showing up.
Whose house? Wow. It's our house. Whose house? Whose house? Who are we? Who are we?
Chosen for change.
Who are we?
Chosen for change.
Y'all power up with me. Break down. Power up. Break down. Power up. 2 times. Break down. Thank y'all. And good night.
I want to introduce myself. First of all, I want to thank you all. Can we clap it up for them? I want you to know that our hearts are with you and goes out to you. Prayers to your entire family. I want to be real brief with this because you all have shocked me with some things that I've heard, especially what you just said. It's totally shocking. But I am a global peace ambassador. Okay? And I didn't become a global peace ambassador overnight. First of all, I want to just say to you, I've been an activist. I'm a professional actress and an activist. And so I coined a word called activist is what I've been. I've been fighting since college. But I really didn't become global until he lost his son. And when he lost his son, I did not know him and I did not know Leslie. But because of the work that I've been doing throughout the community, Leslie reached out to me. And whatever I could do to help her, I was there. Whatever I could do. But I know that God put it on my heart that I wasn't just fighting for justice for Leslie's son, I was also fighting for justice for his. And he will tell you, I called him directly and said, Mike, I need you and your wife, Cal, and Leslie and her husband to all come together, because God showed me that it's on his back that or this to change and what we're dealing with globally. Because if it was not for your son, sir, and what the whole world witnessed and watched, there would not be no justice for others who are getting justice now. It started on the back of your son. And as we approach the 7th year, and come on, Pastor, we know the 7th year means what? Completion. We must complete the task that started here in Ferguson. And I believe tonight, because of you all, we're going to end it here in Ferguson. It's going to be a new beginning. Because what I've come to witness tonight, I'm taking you on the global stage so your voices can be heard. Every last one of you, if you will go. That's number one. Number two, I have a business called Ungun Institute, where I help individuals disarm trauma. See, there's a time and a place where money should be made, and I'm telling you right now, it's a business, right? Because hurt people, healed people, heal people. And there's too many of us hurting right now, living with hurt. As you said, coping. You're no longer living. You're existing because of the hurt and pain. But tonight, I want to give you all a free ungunning. A workshop with all of you all together. That's what I do. And I have helped so many individuals just like you. I just got back 2 weeks ago from ungunning Pop Smoke's mother, where her son on the rise of his name and his music, making a rap video in LA, but from Brooklyn, shot by a 14-year-old. Ended just like that. And a lot of people don't know that Pop Smoke has a child. This right here, Black Sunday, Black Sun, SONDAY, is because of his son. I created this international holiday because of his son. This is the 2nd annual that's coming up, where I will be interviewing him on Sunday. I'm telling you right now, whatever I can do for you and your families in this city and beyond, I stand up to tell you there is somebody that's going to ask you how you feel, how you doing, are you okay? What can I do for you? How can I help you? I have been called my purpose, y'all. My purpose is to save lives. My brother was the shooter. And I went outside to try to save the life that my brother had just shot. Tried to give him CPR, keep him alive. And his friends wouldn't let me touch the man. This man had a rap sheet from here to the arch, and my brother had never been in trouble. But when you come up against somebody's manhood, see, I understand what you were saying. Because hurt people, okay? But in that moment, I knew then we can come, if we don't pray, we can take that off.
All right, y'all. This is powerful. But we done, y'all. More stuff to come this weekend. Peace.